Hello and welcome back to the Battle Room. My name is, of course, the Battle Room, and today I am joined by my good friend Alex. How you doing, buddy?
Doing good, doing good. I'm happy to take the torch from our good friend Raghav, of course, for winning the Grand Champion Festival Encore this weekend.
Yeah, so today we're going to be watching the finals, breaking down the set, and kind of getting a little bit of a insight into your team that won the second biggest tournament of all time.
Guys, I do not know how I got trapped at this devilish circus, but there's a lion on one side and an evil clown on the other. I think the only way to get me out of the situation is to subscribe to the Battle Room. Please, I need those subs now, otherwise they might get me.
So we have your team on the screen. We're going to go break down your opponent's team as well, but we'll start with yours so we can kind of frame it through your lens, right? So how did you come to this conclusion to build Charizard Rain? Because it was something this weekend that, like, outside of your group as well, there were a lot of other Charizard Rain players in the tournament. It seems like it's becoming one of the big teams in the meta. Do you think it is a like a flash in the pan, or do you think that it is like here to stay?
I think it really could stick around, and I don't want to get too high on my own supply, but I think a lot of the people that were running it either saw myself or Billy using it in online tournaments. I used a different version in the Victory Road tournament the past weekend, only to go 6-3, and Rajan went 9-3. And then Billy's been using it in a lot of Limitless tournaments, and so I think that some people might have seen it from there. But regardless, though, talking to the strengths of it, the way that it came about basically was just that it can be very difficult to fit some of the necessary typings and roles onto a Rain team when how are you going to resist Fairy? You can use a poison type like Mega Venusaur or something like that. How are you going to resist Fire? How are you always going to be able to control those weather wars against Charizard? Sometimes it can get a little bit difficult. Sometimes having your own Charizard is actually just the best answer. This Mega is just so broken, and the idea came from me because I was just really liking Mega Venusaur on Rain already, and then I was like, actually, Charizard Venusaur, they're a very strong combo right now. Let's try them both on Rain, and then Charizard just kind of took over. It ended up being the better Mega by a mile. So instead of having Venusaur just be itemless with a Mega Stone, changing to the Sash set meant that they could come together and be as effective as possible.
Yeah, because I feel like Rain 2 got like kind of a big buff in funnily enough, Grimmsnarl. I mean, Swampert as well, but I feel like Grimmsnarl does let you control the weather a lot more effectively. I also think we saw, like, in Japan Nats, Screen's Archaludon is very good. It's just that it's very hard to use or to find like a partner for it back then. So they were using Frostlass with Aurora Veil, but now you actually just have the screens guy. You can just deal those screens. We have Light Clay. So, and then Grimmsnarl can, of course, Parting Shot. So there's just a lot of ways that Rain did get buffed, but to pair him with Charizard is just like it's so silly, but it makes a lot of sense. Like, I know when we were practicing a bit with this team as well, I talked about how great the synergy between Charizard and Pelipper was, surprisingly enough. Like, they actually really love each other. Charizard loves Wide Guard, he loves Tailwind, so there's a lot of good synergy there. And then like the way you always have the control, so you can always bring in the weather when you need it, which I think is very cool.
It is.
But yeah, otherwise, like, your team, there's nothing super crazy here. Like, the standard Rain core, the Archaludon paired with the Pelipper, Choice Scarf, Bascu Legion, the Screens guys, and then you obviously have the Charizard Venusaur mode. So now looking at your opponent's team, how did you, this one, I would say that your team, like, you have the best team because you won, but this is definitely a team that is going to be making a huge splash in the meta, probably at Worlds as well. This Charizard Toxapex Instant Core has been good since Wolf used it at NAIC and into Regulation MB. It's just gotten better. So going into this matchup, like, what were you afraid of? What were you thinking in the team preview here?
So I had played Desu earlier and lost in the final round of Swiss. So it was I was already locked up, and so was Desu. But I believe if I won, I would have earned myself a bye. So definitely, going all out in that match. And he managed to beat me there 2-0. I had a bit of unfortunate luck with my sleep powders in that one, which, I was just setting myself up for finals, of course. But then Desu also managed to beat Billy with basically the same team, and Billy also lost to Pato. So like I definitely felt like the matchup was in Desu's favor here, not trying to throw shade or any types of excuses, just based off of like literal match data, that so far it was looking a little bit uphill. But I knew some ways to make it difficult, and at the end of the day, like Charizard Venusaur can find its way out of any bad matchup if you just get a little bit lucky. So that's kind of why it's like rising to the top right now. Everyone talking about the 7 Charizards in top 8, but really it's just Charizard Venusaur is so powerful as a combination right now. And so yeah, that's a good way to get yourself out of a bad spot. And then I guess to preview a little bit of what we'll see shortly here in game 1, but I kind of came up with an initial game 1 plan just to move Desu off of a certain opening later on. I wanted him to he would not lead the Charizard, and so we ended up leading with Pelipper and Archaludon to take advantage of that fact, and then never go back to that lead because it's actually really bad if they lead Charizard. So we just never returned to that game plan. But he was really enjoying this Incineroar Toxapex lead against me and Billy in the first couple times that we played him, and I thought he would just go back to it, so I wanted to take advantage of that.
Yeah, so with that, let's hop into these games and watch the finals of the second biggest tournament of all time. All right, so we have Pelipper Archaludon, like you mentioned, and then we are going to see the Toxapex Incin, like you also mentioned. So, obviously, this is pretty nuts because you do just get to fire off Electroshot Weather Ball, and there's, nothing he can do to stop you, right?
Mm-hmm. And on top of that, like we were talking about when describing the strength of the team, just having Charizard as a switch into opposing Charizard means that, I don't always have to get one step ahead in the Weather War here. Honestly, this set is, only a couple days old for me at this point, and I'm not really remembering exactly how I open it. But I was thinking about, how do I want to do it? Do I want to just Weather Ball Incin, Electroshot, take advantage of this double super effective that I have going, or do I want to swap out Pelipper to, stay one step ahead in this Weather War as long as I possibly can? I think both are valid routes. I don't actually even remember which one I go for. I'm just kind of blanking just looking at this. It looks like I do just go for that swap into Charizard to stay one step ahead. And it might have actually been the fake out into the Pelipper, keeping Incineroar alive, and then using Venusaur as an Electroshot switch in. But that means that we kind of just get off repositioning and uncontested damage.
Yeah, and the fun thing about Charizard too is that even though you're switching out Pelipper, you still have a water move on your Zard. You still have Weather Ball if you don't Mega Evolve. There's a lot of really cool small things that your team can do, but that's one of them, right? You can put that pressure onto him. You could also fire off a Heat Wave here if you wanted to. Oh, the screen just flashed. Nice. But yeah, I mean, now you're in a great spot. You have a +1 boost onto your Archaludon. He does survive an Earth Power, right? With the Life Orb, barely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, and what's nice too, he has no Sleep Powder.
No, I know. Pato did have Sleep Powder. This one did not. Changes the matchup very drastically. I think Desu gets a decent read of my safest option here, though. And so he attacks with the Venusaur because, yeah, like you said, the Water Ball, and I don't have to Sun. I don't have to set up Sun with Mega. So I just double tap this Incineroar for a guaranteed kill. It would get Charizard, it would get Toxapex, it would get Incineroar. So I kind of just take that. It's kind of awesome. Very, very exciting. We also get to see, the Earth Power here into Archaludon does a lot of damage, which means that, Arch might not be able to comfortably beat some of the remaining Pokemon, but they only have, basically Charizard's just still a big threat of its own on my side, so I'm just happy to have, my Charizard, even if Archaludon's getting weakened.
Yeah, too, and the big thing is he doesn't have removing Incineroar. I mean, the 4 Pokemon he brought too, they don't actively manage Charizard that well. None of them are hitting him for super effective damage. He does have to probably 3-hit KO Charizard or Toxic Stall it. So your Charizard is chilling a little bit here, but I guess this could be where Toxapex could come in pretty freely. You could throw or Charizard. But yeah, I do think now he is in a little bit of a better spot. But I think, yeah, your Charizard is just sitting pretty. You can't kill that thing.
Yeah, so at this point, I don't think I'm trying to prioritize Archaludon anymore, and
Mhm.
so I'm kind of just accepting that it will be taken out. It's not at enough HP that it's going to be able to survive a Heat Wave or anything like that. It can survive a Weather Ball from the opposing Charizard if I get the Rain up one more time, but we would have to, dance around positionally to make that happen. And even then, it's still just, slower than both of these two Pokemon across from it. So it's probably just going to be more work than it's worth.
He's gonna set the sun, which is really good for you because you can take that weather whenever you want. It's kind of interesting though because the Charizard speeds matter quite a bit because he can abuse your rain as much as you can, right?
Hmm.
Like if he calls you, so you do have to be like a little bit careful because you are the slower Zard here in terms of the weather ball if you bring in Pelipper. But yeah, I feel like on this turn this is a free just like Heat Wave Dragon Pulse if you want it
Hmm.
or protect.
Looks like I do end up protecting the Archaludon, maybe just to delay switching a little bit longer. Because ultimately, like we said, Charizard on my side just a bit hard to remove, and um, the opposing, like I'm just going to get enough value out of clicking Heat Wave with my own Charizard that I don't really need a second attack on the turn, and then like eventually, what we're trying to set ourselves up for is Pelipper just beating Charizard 1v1 with weather control. Like, not necessarily worrying about, like, my Charizard water balling their Charizard, but more so just, like, once their Charizard can't switch. If we had gotten the Venusaur KO there with Heat Wave, they just have Toxapex Charizard, Pelipper comes in eventually, Water Ball kills Charizard, and we win the game, basically, from there. And so just having more Pokemon alive in the Weather War is very important.
All right, so we're gonna see that Earth Power. I was wondering, like, I feel like the threat of your Pelipper here does make this turn incredibly awkward for him because, like, his safe play is just Sludge Bomb, Charizard, Heat Wave, and that would remove both Pokemon. But he doesn't go for it because he just can't. He does go for the Weather Wall. He covers for both, right? Like, if you bring in Pelipper there, he's gonna kill your Charizard. But if you don't bring in Pelipper, he still gets damage and removes Arcaludon. But you just sit there and spam Heat Wave. You're chilling. He's gone.
Right. Yeah, it's now the Venusaur's taken care of. Like I said, I think Pelipper is just looking really, really good here, and we get to see whatever my last Pokemon is most likely here shortly. I think actually I do end up playing it into a way maybe with like a. I think I get a little bit lucky, like with a Hurricane Confusion or something, which prevents me from having to reveal my final Pokemon in this Game 1 game plan, which is pretty big, especially at all points in a best of 3 when you are I guess adapting to that Game 1 game plan. You want to have full information, and I know everything that my opponent brought in the first game. But I do believe that Desu does not get to learn my last Pokemon here, so he has to go into the second game not knowing what I have in the back.
Oh, and you go for the Tailwind. Nice. So now you can just Weather Ball Hurricane. He is going to Toxic your Pelipper, the safe play. I mean, I think your play was solid there because you're covering for the Protect onto Charizard, right? Like, if he protects his Charizard, you win. I mean, you're still in a great spot regardless here. Because even if it's Basque, you obviously get to slowly Last Respects, Toxapex down. If it's Venusaur, you do have Earth Power, right? So you can start hitting it very slowly. The Toxapex is a little bit scary still in the rain here, but I mean, maybe he just takes too much from Hurricane. I don't actually know. I mean, I always just think Toxapex just lives everything. Well, it does live everything.
It does.
But I feel like it still could win this end game, but maybe Hurricane is too much. Okay, that was a little bit too much. Took him down to 6-7. Is he
6-7.
Yeah, he does.
And then he gets himself, which just makes it even easier to keep my back Pokemon hidden. So at this point, yeah, like we're hiding my last Pokemon, but we know that the last one can't be like Grimmsnarl because Grimmsnarl Pelipper might be a bit of a worrying one to have against Toxapex. You'd be cutting it close. But yeah, it's either Venusaur or Basculesian to be able to beat this Toxapex. Both could do it in their own way, but Desu does not get the answer here because Toxapex is it did take that one turn of confusion, which means it didn't get to Infestation or Toxic my Charizard and get rid of it quickly enough.
you hacked him on the information, but obviously this game was just so cooked. Toxapex, like, I saw one in the tournament with Recover over Wide Guard, which I thought was pretty crazy. If that was the case, obviously you would be sweating a little bit, but most of the Toxapexes just run Wide Guard. So it is slowly, very slowly killing Charizard and Pelipper here, trying to win, but yeah, it's just not going to be enough. You just need that one hurt. Oh, does he hit himself? No way, he's cooked. Honestly, it just speeds it up. It speeds it up. We're here for it.
It did.
Oh, that did so much too. Okay.
Yeah, Charizard's Water Ball can sometimes feel like it's like the same power as like Pelipper. Funnily enough, it's just wild because Pelipper's special attack stat is not quite 160 or whatever Charizard's is.
So you take the game one. You're feeling good, right? You got to use your little cheesy little game plan of just, not cheesy, but like, you know, your little, because he's played this team so many times, he has a set way he likes to approach it, and you abused that, which was really solid. But what are you thinking for game two now, right? Now you have to play the game honest, but he does have the fear of the Pelipper arch lead, right?
Yeah, at this point, I just wanted to, you know, scare off the slower paced positioning leads. Toxapex is really annoying on turn one, and like it could still possibly be led with Charizard, but I think that's at least not as bad as the Incineroar Toxapex lead. Like it by no means was it like game losing for the game plan we're going to see for me here, but it just kind of slowed my momentum in a way that I didn't enjoy, and I wanted to really, you know, take this matchup that felt uphill and at least give myself as much of an advantage as I could by going for this game one gambit. You know, at the very least, if it didn't pay off, I still had game two to fall back to this Venusaur Charizard approach is what we're going to see from me. You know, Venusaur Charizard on both of our teams, very strong right now, as I was mentioning, just very strong in the metagame in general right now. And yeah, just even though it's not like the perfect lead into what we see from Desu, I just did not want to lead Pelipper again because I was ready for Charizard.
Yeah, exactly. And so he does have to make a switch up, right? Because that lead was pretty brutal. That is the funny part about Charizard is like he's good into rain teams in my opinion, but he also can be a little clunky, right? If you don't lead him, you don't set up that sun right away, he's not a reliable switch in, which is what we kind of saw in that game. Desu did have to take unfavorable trades in the early game. So here we go. It's going to be Charizard and Venusaur from you, like you mentioned. And then we're going to see Charizard Incin from Desu, which I feel like is a pretty solid lead from him. But at the same time, it's like you can just protect Venusaur and you're kind of chilling.
Yeah, and so I think there's always the opportunity for me to get unnecessarily greedy and try to guess which one the fake out is going for. And I think that that's an approach you can consider if you think the matchup is like really uphill. But and like I said, I think it is pretty uphill, but I still felt there was no reason to go all in on that read. We do see Desu go for no Mega here while I Mega. I was Megaing my Charizard early in this matchup a lot so that if I ever needed to, you know, switch in Charizard to activate the sun after the rain had been set up, I wanted my Venusaur to get the speed immediately. So that's why we're going for the Mega Protect here. But Desu holds the Mega, of course, because there's a Pelipper potentially lurking in the back, and he wants to be able to swing Weather Control in his favor if need be.
Kind of a crazy play from him well, not a crazy play, but he was trying to really keep you honest, right? He fakes out the Zard because, like, if anything, protecting Venusaur, it feels like you have to do that. But attacking with Zard is a super fair play from you, but you don't fall for it, and he does try to get a little bit of a micro punish. Just tries to play a little optimally and cover for you, which he didn't get it, but I like that play nonetheless, even though. And then I like your play of the double protect because you punished the little play that he tried to get an edge with. But he is going to Mega Evolve here, and now he's saying, all right, it's time. I'm going to hit you. You're staying in. I want those extra stats.
And this way, I just play it kind of boring, sleep powdering the Pokemon that can't protect. If Venusaur comes in, it's not even Focus Sash, so it would just get KO'd by Heat Wave, and I would be very happy with the trade. So yeah, we both just throw our Heat Waves at each other, and unfortunately, Venusaur was not feeling it in this one, decided to tap out a little bit earlier than I would have liked, and gets burned by the Heat Wave. which we did land our sleep powder. That part was nice, but I might have wanted to get off one more attack with my Venusaur, whether it was a sleep powder, an earth power, a sludge bomb, anything would have been probably nice.
It would have been a little bit better than Venusaur just falling over there, but it is what it is. It is unfortunate.
Right.
It is kind of a crazy, like, his lead is pretty good because, like, he is, well, it's good, but it's also just saying, like, hey, I'm going to go to sleep. And I'm going to accept that, but I'm going to have 2 fire types in against Charizard, and I'm going to try to abuse that, like try to take your Heat Waves as best I can. So now you're going to send in your Arcaludon. I mean, now this is a free, like, you kind of have, it's kind of fun because you could switch into Pelipper, of course, and just start Electroshotting, but you could also just attack with your own Charizard because he can't really switch anything in on the Heat Wave, right? Like, if you just attack, but then he could fire a Heat Wave back, do a ton of damage to your Arcaludon as well. So it's like awkward for both players, right? Like, it's a little bit of an uncomfy turn for him.
Yeah, I considered staying in and Heat Waving to cover for that Venusaur swap again. However, I think we end up seeing that Desu might have benched Venusaur in this game, and does just let Toxapex take the Electro Shot, I believe. But we'll find out that it's I think Annihilate in the back later, and that's part of why Desu did not make that switch right now. Is Annihilate has that Focus Sash, and he wanted to be able to hold that over me later, is to use its ability to always take 2 hits well. And even though Toxapex, takes big, super effective damage here, it lives. It can regenerate. Like, it can definitely still come back in this battle.
Yeah, I mean, that is the best part about Toxapex, in my opinion, is that I'm sure singles players know, but you can switch him in onto any hit, get your leftovers, potentially protect, or just switch out again, and then you just get that regenerator, get your free healing off, and then it's good to go again to take another hit. Like, sometimes that's all you need Toxapex for, is just being able to pivot around. It's not something that I don't know if there's any Pokemon like it, like that we've used in the past, where it's like, yeah, this is just the damage sponge. We're going to use it to switch things, Like, it's like a pivot Pokemon in a way. It's so weird. So you're still in this one for sure, but it is definitely like a slight uphill battle, right? Like, it is a little bit uncomfortable. You're down a Pokemon, which in the Weather War always sucks, like you mentioned in game 1, right?
Yeah, now at this point, I know that I'm not going to be able to KO this Incineroar with a Water Ball from Pelipper, so instead we just try to hit the Charizard coming in. I figured that Toxapex wanted to get Regenerator, so I was going to throw the Dragon Pulse over there, and it does mean that the Charizard is that much closer to being removed, which is big. We lose our +1 from Electro Shot, this Parting Shot here, but we're just back down to neutral, and if Venusaur came in, I would feel pretty comfortable. However, Desu does make the Annihilate adaptation, which makes things a lot harder. I've taken a little bit of chip damage on my Charizard. Rock Tomb was, like, I think, looking close to KOing. I can't remember the exact calc, but I started, really running the numbers here. I should have ran them much earlier, but I think this was the first time he had brought Annihilate against me, and I was like, oh, okay, what are we going to do about this? And so, honestly, I think I decided that I was just, like, going to let, I thought I was just going to call, like, the Charizard swapping and Annihilate Rock Tombing or something like that. And I just attack with our Chaladon here, which, if I had killed the Charizard, I probably was in a very solid spot. However, I expected Charizard to protect or switch on Desu's side, and I just wanted to get the Sash broken on this Annihilate. So we have a very, like, strong turn where Desu does just completely whiff 2 attacks into a protect. However, and our Chaladon is just, in the face of close combat Weather Ball, gets off an uncontested attack. The problem is that it's not actually like a 2-hit KO onto Annihilate, and I actually completely miss the next play that Desu goes for here. Was not an option I had considered in the grand scheme of things. I was like, all right, he might just do that same play again.
That's what I would
just done. And yeah, we see the fun option that this team has. Well, it has a lot of fun options, but one of the fun options from Desu right here. Let's see.
I really do think that the team that Desu's running is, like, Oh my god, it's so nasty. There's so many mode switch ups here. So you're just gonna sacrifice Pelipper here. That makes sense, right? You want to try to get the KO. I bet does Electroshot would KO the Annihilate from here, right?
I think it might get close if you were allowed to click it.
The helping hand CC into our Caledon here, and he's just gone. He's just actually gone.
He's just gone.
Oh,
and
the effect.
One hit knockout. Yeah, that was definitely a bit of a rough one. Not something I was considering, and yeah, I pretty much just made like the standard most safest play for me, but was very much not taking that into account. And now we have Pelipper in the sun, which was funny because, like, I don't know, when you are playing against Pelipper in the sun, you tell yourself like Hurricane has a 0% hit rate. If it hits me, like that's hacks. That's hacks.
Yeah.
But if you're playing Pelipper in the sun, you have to you come to realize like you have to accept like, I mean, it's 50%. It happens as often as it doesn't. I'm gonna have to probably just do it.
Yeah.
So we ended up going Protect, Tailwind. I think maybe like Phantom Force is what the choice was here, which I thought was wild. I think Desu was under the impression that a Helping Hand Phantom Force was going to be enough to take out Charizard from here. I guess
cute.
Maybe.
That's cute. I like that though.
And that would be like that would be a pretty guaranteed line. I don't know. Maybe I'm speaking a bit too much for Desu here. Maybe he just thought that the guaranteed damage was enough to move it into a safe win. Also, on top of the fact that, like, you know, because of Phantom Force is really, it's a cool move. You can just disappear for the turn. Like, if I didn't Tailwind, then the Phantom Force would land, you know, safely. But if I did Tailwind, I just have no option to hit Annihilate here. It's just completely gone. But yeah, it really wasn't that much considering that's like a Helping Hand Phantom Force.
Yeah.
But it does move Charizard into range from something from Toxapex, essentially. You know, like 2 infestations and you're gone.
Toxic, you're
and
gone.
So, and
yeah. Whatever you want to do.
We got 3 turns of Sun left. Pelipper is doing its best here. But I can't remember exactly what I do on this next turn. The end game is actually funnier than you'd think, but yeah, let's see. I think I just send a Heatwave Hurricane their way.
I mean, if you get these turns right, I legitimately think you can win. Like, he's trying to stall it as best he can, but like I still think like if you hit your Hurricanes, I think you seriously could win. It just comes down to hitting those things. You do miss Heatwave here, unfortunately.
Do miss Heatwave, and I think I went for Toxapex, so we get 0 damage on the turn, which isn't awesome, but still. I think then also on this turn, I expected Desu to take the 100% option, which is Fake Out into Pelipper and either Toxic or Infestation into Pelipper. So I attack with Charizard here, getting off a little bit of damage, but the Toxapex targets into Charizard, effectively KOing it in 2 turns, which isn't super awesome. We land our Heat Wave.
Yeah, Instant might be a little too healthy here.
You would think. We missed a Heat Wave on Incineroar, but we have ways to make up for that. Also, the Sun turns, it felt like there were so many. Like, Charizard and Pelipper were sitting together with like 5 turns of Sun, but I think we're down to just 1 now.
Yeah.
So soon those Hurricanes will be back up to 70% accurate, definitely a bit better than 50.
Yeah, because now, I mean, you do get a guaranteed Heat Wave off on the instant slot, right? And it's more like, Pelipper is healthy. Do you call the bunker, right? You double instant. I think you just have to get all these turns perfectly to have even a slight shot. Oh, you're going for it. You're going for it.
Yeah, we Weather Ball the instant, and this gets a critical hit. It, in a way, I think kind of makes up for the Heat Wave miss. However, we do just have to get lucky to get ourselves back into this game after that Heat Wave burn on our Venusaur. So we're grinding, we're working for it, and we do land that Sun Hurricane, so...
Yeah, I mean, wow. It's actually kind of crazy that the the infestation turn was so important that he got that right. Because had he just whiffed that, Charizard would have still had, you know, a couple more turns in him. But Charizard's gonna go down. So now it's like, I just think you might not have enough time, like with Rock Tomb and Toxic. If he goes for that, he could go for, the issue is he could totally go for Phantom Force too, which might even be a acceptable play.
Yeah, and so that's another thing is that like it's crazy that this is even playable. I feel like that we had to work really hard to get here. So yeah, I have to kind of call whether or not the Annihilate's going to Phantom Force here, and I do just take the safe Hurricane into Toxapex, safe as any Hurricane can be, and it works out just I think well enough because like it's a 2-hit KO. It's looking nice, and we do get the confusion.
No
and Toxapex
way.
Gets off the Toxic. However, if I can get a single, like, you know, self hit on this Toxapex and I don't miss 2 Hurricanes, we actually are right back in this. I mean, not even back in this. The game's over, so it's not really back in it, but rather we might be able to steal back this game that we had no right winning after how it started.
Yeah, because I mean, I think he should just go for the double protect. Oh my god.
The self hit, and then I knew the Phantom Force was coming because it's just safe.
He should protect. I'm actually annoyed that he didn't just protect.
Well, he tried to.
Oh, no, on the island.
Yeah, that also could have been an option.
Yeah. But
we Hurricane the Toxapex and we miss. And we miss the Toxapex.
He actually so gave you a chance here. You just needed to hit 2 Hurricanes. Wow.
It was just 2 Hurricanes away from winning. Obviously, we had to get some self-hit confusions. We had to hit some Sun Hurricanes. A couple of things had to go our way to get here, but it was funny that it was actually this close.
Dude, if he just...
That Phantom Force does really good damage to Pelipper as well, so...
If he protected Annihilate, he won the game, by the way. Guaranteed, right? With no self-hits, no shenanigans. I don't know why he went for the early... I think the confusion, like, actually flustered him, you know? I think the confusion flustered him into making a slight misplay because protect was super correct no matter how you slice it. But yeah, so now he does hit you with Infestation, and the Phantom Force did a lot, like you said. So I think you're just gone regardless. So Pelipper, unfortunately, is dead. But yeah, what a crazy game. You did need to get a little lucky, like you said, but at the same time, like, you know, you were grinding that one. You were trying to win real bad.
Yeah, honestly, it's hilarious that it was that close. Yeah. But yeah, after that, I was thinking, you know, of just running it back, basically, because I think that my other options are a little bit weaker. If we lead Pelipper or Grimmsnarl or Basculegion, we're probably not going to be having the best time. The only other guy besides that is our Chaladon, I guess. Because yeah, Pelipper and Grimmsnarl in this case, they're just too weak to the fake out from the Incineroar. The Basculegion is definitely able to take that, but the problem is that like it's not gonna be able to accomplish much being an Intimidated in the Sun. You know, with no Pokemon KO'd. So you could do our Chaladon as I guess, but then our Chaladon is just going to lead to some mind games with the Charizard on whether or not it's going to Mega Evolve or not to delay setting that Sun, basically. And yeah, you just end up into some awkward spots. So I think that the lead we have is probably the one to run back with. And even if we have to just kind of play the same opening, I would do it again. Just, you know, we have to kind of rely on Sleep Powder a little bit because this is otherwise a bit tricky, a bit difficult.
The thing with Sleep Powder too, like that's so frustrating about it is like there isn't safety goggles. The only true answer is Lumberry or Chestoberry, right? Like there's no actual like way to stop Sleep Powder, right? So like Desu here is doing the best thing he can, which is to just stall the turns as best as he can in the sun in the sun against Sleep Powder. So like obviously he can get lucky, he can get those wakes, but it is just like he has to eat it. His team has no response to Sleep Powder. He's just saying, all right, let's send the fire types, let's eat the Sleep Powder, let's do our best.
Could always use Overcoat. Overcoat is a funny way to get around it.
It's just so nasty because like the way to beat Sleep Powder as well is grass types, but grass types don't like Charizard, so it's just like
like Charizard.
it's so hard.
They don't like Sludge Bomb either.
They don't like
if they're
Sludge Bomb.
just like Sinistcha can do it. But anyways, we can talk over this for the most part because it's exactly the same opening as game 2. Down to the fake out target too. I thought, I was sending the double protect again, but I was like, this time he fakes out Venusaur for sure. He doesn't. He still fakes out the the Charizard again. Not that it ends up changing the outcome, but more so just kind of like, it's funny. This is, I mean, a bit of insight into like the approach mindset of, what both players are like trying to get a feel for how they're playing the matchup is, again, still prioritizing that Charizard, still sticking to his guns there. So you start to use that to kind of influence how you decide later turns in the battle might go.
I kind of like it though. At the same time, is like, even if you call it right and you sleep powder the Charizard, let's say, it's still not a bad turn because he's burning a sleep turn without taking damage, right? So like I do kind of think maybe he's just saying, like, he's like, I don't really care what you do. I am going to just make this play every single time. I wonder if that is what his thought process is. Now we're gonna see him Mega Evolve. You're going to sleep powder the same target. So we're just running the game back, but you're saying, listen, I'm going to hit sleep powder and I'm not going to get burned. And he's saying, all right, let's play a fair, legit game where I don't burn you. I'm still confident in my plan, though.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And so, this time around, Venusaur does not get burned. I was just watching, 2 inches from my Switch screen there. Like, I'm like, Venusaur, you got to lock in, man. We can't be doing this again. And I think that the Earth Power into the Venusaur or into the Incineroar slot is too threatening to the point that I think the Charizard's always going to attack here. Desu's always just going to roll the dice and accept that, trying to protect and avoid the Sleep Powder just opens up too many windows to getting red, and instead would just rather, let the game decide if this is going to be an unlucky situation for him or lucky for me, whatever, and so. I do just send the Sleep Powder, and I think a Heat Wave again, because I want to wear down these Pokemon. Like, the thing is I don't really, even though, Heat Wave has accuracy issues and Weather Ball can do more damage to a single target, I do just kind of want chip damage on both of these Pokemon. Like, these are Pokemon that I'm not planning on OHKOing with any particular one move later, and so having help through Heat Wave is important. And this time, Incineroar, I think, was the more important target because I want to put it in range of, Earth Powers. And very fortunate, we land our second Sleep Powder, and Incineroar gets a 2-turn sleep. All in all, I can't imagine that the odds of all of that happening are in my favor. But regardless, now it does mean that we can just kind of put a lot of pressure on this Incineroar slot with, Heat Wave Earth Power or such and such. We know Garchomp's not probably coming to the matchup. Annihilate doesn't want to switch in on that. Toxapex doesn't want to switch in on that. Venusaur doesn't want to switch in on that. So I think that Toxapex is probably going to be the switch in here. And we end up Earth Powering and Weather Balling that slot just to really make sure that either Incin's going down or we're doing as much damage as possible to the Toxapex.
Yeah, because I mean, even still just getting all this free damage because you've taken 1 Heat Wave and you've dealt 3 Heat Waves and an Earth Power, and now, or you dealt 2 Heat Waves. You did miss 1 of the Heat Waves, but now you're going to deal an Earth Power and a Weather Ball. Ooh, and the Special Defense drop. And the sleep.
Also 2 turns. Yeah, really, really fortune favoring us in every possible way here. Kind of disgustingly. Toxapex does hang on. Honestly, the Special Defense drop is the difference of Toxapex having an extra, I don't know, 10% or something here. We all know it's going to just swap out for Regenerator. I think the real payoff on this turn is Charizard also 2-turn sleeping, meaning that Venusaur sticks around. If Venusaur did get knocked out, at the very least, I feel like I would have had some decent follow-up plays with switching in our Chalet on our Pelipper or something like that. But regardless, the other thing that's noteworthy is the Incineroar in the back has taken a mandatory 2 turns of sleep. It's guaranteed to wake up, even though it's sleeping. Something that can be kind of fun in these matchups is having that Pokemon that's guaranteed to wake up in the back, it means that you can't sleep powder it in advance or anything. Like if I sleep powder the Toxapex here, Incineroar is still immune to that sleep powder, even if it's guaranteed to wake up right now. And so we know that Charizard is guaranteed to wake up as well, which means we can just protect Venusaur to hold that over on them a little bit longer. Charizard just takes a Heat Wave. We fire off a Heat Wave right back, and it lands. And yeah, we're both just kind of like death by 1,000 cuts on each other's Charizards, just hitting each other little by little as much as possible. And I think at this point I decide that my Venusaur could still be quite annoying for him later. The Sun turns have naturally run out now. Both of these Charizards are not nearly as scary. Actually, oh no, I think I decide that maybe I do decide to just let Venusaur go because the positioning the Weather War still seemed a little bit troublesome, and I was worried about Incineroar going for a parting shot here, and so I wanted to force one of these Pokemon to stay in to deal with the Venusaur without like a swap and a parting shot to get Sun back up. So I think I switch in Archaladon. Sun isn't up, so I'm not actually too worried about taking a Heat Wave on Archaladon. However, the Weather Ball comes out. This, and no fake out from the Incineroar, by the way. This is the turn that I knew that I had won the game. Because for some reason, this play that was supposed to be a bit more of a positioning sacrifice, like just saying, I don't want Charizard swap and parting shot to get Sun back up. Like, if you don't get the Sun back up, I can choose when to set the Sun as long as I just keep my Charizard in the back. And yeah, I think honestly, Desu was covering for some kind of like Weather Ball play from Pelipper swap with Charizard, but instead my Archaladon gets a +1, which I thought could be relevant. I was like, I'll take close combat better from Annihilate.
Yeah,
but there's no Annihilate. There's still Archaladon switching on a Charizard attack and taking 3%. That's pretty chill. That's pretty cool by me.
And now, too, the Venusaur's still alive. It's still something he's going to have to deal with here. I think this is probably just if I'm him, is it not just Heat Wave, maybe EP? I think that might be the play, but that loses to Pelipper. Never mind. He can't do that. He has to, Weather Ball EP or Archaludon, which feels terrible. But you get him. You call him.
Arch also just dodges. Arch also just dodges. Heat Wave would not have KO'd. Weather Ball would have been pretty close, considering how much damage the Earth Power does.
You were living that Heat Wave comfortably. With your Calm Archaludon, you're chilling.
I think so. So we we get out and get off the Electro Shot, KOing the Charizard, and that's basically it at this point. There's a low health Toxapex that we did get that special defense drop earlier on, but it was always going to die to this next Electro Shot, and Venusaur is always going to go down to a Hurricane. So there's really not a lot of options left. In my opinion, I thought the only thing to try, even though I don't think it actually goes anywhere, is to Sludge Bomb crit the Pelipper and protect Pex to then kill Arch on a later turn. However, I think we just see an Earth Power into Archaladon here, and I finally get to beat Toxapex in a streamed tournament set because that Pokemon has been my personal demon for the past couple of months.
Toxapex has just had such a glow up. It's kind of crazy that it's not only is it doing well in these tournaments, but it's being used on a bunch of different teams. It's just good in this format, and good in the last one as well. Toxapex is continuously winning. It's something that people are going to have to prepare for. But yeah, I mean, you take this game nice and well here. You're gonna now it's just over. There's not much they can necessarily do at all. Charizard, Venusaur, everybody's alive. Toxapex is good, but not that good, right? Too many guys.
Yeah, we ended up, getting a lot of lucky breaks in this one. I'm not going to pretend that those were not very helpful for us. Game 2 was also, a bit of an unlucky break with the Heat Wave burn on Venusaur, definitely giving me a lot less options. So, at the very least, I don't know. I will take what I get, because sometimes in Pokemon, when the matchups are tough, you might have to get a little bit lucky, and that's ultimately how it went for me. But it still feels real. Still feels real nice.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I feel like my thought process about doing well in Pokemon tournaments has always been like you need to just get yourself to top cut, and that's the best you can do. Like I think most players, like really really good strong players, will consistently get themselves to the top cut part of the tournament. But once you're in that single bracket, like there's so many things that can go wrong, right? Like you could pull a bad matchup, you could get brutally hacked, right? There's just things you can't control. But the one thing you can control is getting yourself there usually, right? And it's not a perfect science, but I feel like, you know, like eventually, like you've paid your fair share of losing to luck as well. You know what I mean? Like everyone does, like no one's just luckier than everyone else. So, you know, like it is what it is. And sometimes, you know, you will get unlucky, to get knocked out, and sometimes you get a little lucky in the finals, and that is what it is. I mean, you still played it well, and also like he just didn't have a great answer for sleep, so you were able to just get those sleeps off consistently and put yourself into those amazing spots. So congrats on winning the second biggest tournament of all time. It's not the biggest, but it's the second biggest. We take it as. And you don't get a belt, unfortunately.
No belts, but it still is so funny to go from Raghav to me, considering, you know, like how much, you know, you, I, and Raghav all work together to just, you know, I've said it it privately, but it's also just fun to say out loud. It's just like, Scraw, we're just taking all your money, man. It's all for us. It's all for us.
Again, thanks. Huge shout outs to Scraw for running this tournament, and shout out to Scraw for hooking us up with this VOD. It actually wasn't on Twitch. Alex talked to him, and we got the VOD. So thank you so much, Scraw. The tournament was awesome. It's so cool that he ran the first one and then decided, you know what, I'm gonna do it for the mobile players too. So again, thank you, Scraw, and thank you for joining me, Alex. Where can the people find you? What do you do?
What do? I play Pokemon, but yeah, you can find me over on Twitter at LexiconVGC, and then over on Twitch at TubNationTV. We'll be, yeah, I think this will be probably posted after the YouTube video for Tub Takes, my podcast, where I'll be breaking down the tournament and my tournament run on Twitch, but it'll be over on YouTube. You can search for Tub Nation TV or CK49 on YouTube, I guess. But
I'll link it.
Either one.
I got you.
yeah. Thank you. But yeah, otherwise, yeah, thanks for having me on and for letting me do this breakdown with you.
Yeah, of course. Thank you for giving us your insight, because obviously Sun Rain is going to be a thing, so we might as well learn from the best. But thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.